Have you ever been betrayed by the one person you trusted to protect your secrets? My sister didn't just cross a line, she set the whole bridge on fire, and then blamed me for the smoke. Before we dive into the story, please like this video and subscribe to my channel for more powerful stories. Thank you. I didn't grow up with money. Actually, we were the kind of family that stretched pasta and hoped dad's paycheck cleared before the rent was due. We didn't get vacations, our big treat was Friday night takeout. I learned early that money was something you whispered about, never shouted. So, when I finally started making good money from my small online store, selling handmade candles and custom wax melts, I didn't feel the urge to make some grand announcement. I just quietly celebrated. Privately danced around my kitchen when I hit my first $1,000 day. It wasn't shame, it was self-preservation. Rachel and I had always been different. She thrived on attention, loved loud music and louder people. I preferred calm. I liked structure. While she was out partying in college, I was figuring out how to code a Shopify theme and writing product descriptions with the precision of a surgeon. Still, we were close, or so I thought. We had the kind of sibling bond that felt unbreakable. We'd laugh at stupid memes, share inside jokes from childhood, text each other song lyrics without explanation. That's what made it all harder to see coming. As I started doing well, I kept it low-key. I knew Rachel was bouncing between marketing jobs. She tried freelancing for a while but never really stuck to one thing. I thought sharing my financial wins would seem like bragging. So, I stayed quiet. I didn't post screenshots. I didn't buy flashy things. I reinvested. I saved. I was just building quietly. Peacefully. But in hindsight, maybe Rachel saw that silence as something else. Maybe she thought I was hiding it on purpose. That I was trying to keep something from her. That couldn't have been further from the truth. I was just trying to protect what I'd built. There was one moment I remember clearly. A Sunday dinner at Mom and Dad's. We were all eating, laughing. Dad asked how work was going. Rachel launched into a rant about how toxic her manager was and how she might just quit. When it was my turn, I smiled and said, "Things are good. Busy." That was it. That was all I said. She raised her eyebrows. "Still doing that little candle thing?" I laughed it off. "Yeah, it's more than a little thing now." But I should have known that laugh stung her. I should have seen the flicker in her eyes. In my mind, I was protecting her. In hers, maybe I was mocking her without even meaning to. We never talked deeply about money. It was a taboo topic growing up. But now I wonder, if we had, would any of this have happened? Would she have understood that I wasn't hiding success out of spite, but out of fear? Fear of jealousy. Fear of division. Fear of exactly what ended up happening. Because sometimes, silence doesn't just protect you. It isolates you. And I was about to learn that the hard way. It all blew up on a Tuesday. Dad had just had a minor stroke. He was stable, thankfully, but we were still in that tense fog hospitals tend to wrap you in. That weird, sterile air. Machines beeping. People crying softly in corners. And Rachel sitting in the chair next to me, scrolling through her phone like she was bored at a DMV. I was organizing the discharge papers. Making notes about his medication schedule, appointments, follow-up therapy. I had a color-coded system. I was trying to hold everything together while Mom sobbed in the hallway. But Rachel? She looked like she couldn't care less. Then out of nowhere, she slammed her phone down on the windowsill and blurted out, loud enough that 2 nurses turned their heads. "You know what your problem is? You're mentally unstable. You hide money like a paranoid nut. You don't even trust your own family." The air left my lungs. "What?" I asked, half laughing, thinking she must have been joking. But her face was stone cold. "Don't play dumb," she snapped. "I saw your Etsy revenue. Jack told me. You're making more than all of us and still acting like you're broke. What kind of freak does that?" I could barely move. Jack? Her ex. The guy I once trusted to help me redesign my website? He went through my dashboard. Told her my numbers. And now she was airing them like dirty laundry in front of medical staff. I wasn't hiding anything, I whispered. I just didn't want to. To what? She cut me off. Make me feel bad? Do you have any idea how fake that sounds? You just didn't want to share. Typical. My hands were shaking. Not because she found out about the income. But because she didn't even ask. Didn't talk to me. Didn't try to understand. She just attacked. In that moment, I wasn't her sister. I was an enemy in a war I didn't know we were fighting. The nurse came in then, awkwardly pretending she hadn't just heard our family drama explode all over the room. Rachel leaned back in her chair, arms crossed like she just dropped a mic. I didn't cry. I wanted to. But I held it in. Because I realized then, this wasn't about the money. It wasn't even about me. It was about her. Her insecurity. Her pain. Her feeling like she was losing control of the family narrative. And she needed to cast someone as the villain. And who better than the sister with a secret of success and color-coded pill schedules? I left the room quietly. Walked down the hallway. Found a supply closet and stood inside it for 5 minutes. Just breathing. Just trying not to completely fall apart. Because that was the day I realized something heartbreaking. Rachel didn't love me unconditionally. She loved me when she felt superior. When she felt needed. And now that I didn't need her, she didn't know what to do with me. So she chose to destroy me instead. We were sitting in Dad's hospital room. The tension between us didn't stay locked in that hospital room. It followed me home. Into my work. Into my peace. A few days after the fight, I noticed something off with my online store. It started with a review. 1 star. The comment read. Scent gave me a migraine. Won't repurchase. I shrugged it off. Every seller gets a bad review now and then. But then another came in. And another. Poor packaging. Felt cheap. She's rude if you message her. Doesn't care about customers. I scrolled through them with a pit forming in my stomach. Something felt targeted. Then came the one that made my hands go ice cold. Unstable energy. Avoid. Just like she avoids her own family. Excuse me? That wasn't just a bad review. That was personal. And only someone with knowledge of what Rachel had said could have written it. I started digging. Reading every negative review line by line. I saw patterns, strange phrases that Rachel always used. Comments that echoed things she'd thrown at me in arguments. One burner account even replied to a customer's question with, "Ask Rachel. She knows the truth." I created a fake buyer profile and messaged that account. "Hey, I saw your comment. What did you mean by ask Rachel?" They replied, "She's a liar. A manipulator. Just like she's always been." That was the moment I knew for sure. It wasn't a suspicion anymore. My own sister was behind a string of fake, damaging reviews meant to ruin my business. I wish I could say I was shocked. But I wasn't. I was heartbroken. This was more than jealousy. This was war. And she was playing dirty. I tried confronting her over the phone. "Rachel, are you writing fake reviews on my store?" She laughed. "Why? Are people finally catching on that you're not as perfect as you pretend to be? Cut the crap. Just tell me the truth." Her voice dropped to a cold, low whisper. "Maybe if you didn't keep secrets, people wouldn't feel the need to expose you." She hung up. I stared at my phone screen, completely stunned. That wasn't just pettiness, that was calculated malice. I spent the rest of the night flagging every fake review I could. Contacting customer support. Gathering screenshots. But some damage had already been done. I lost 2 bulk clients that week. They cited recent reputation concerns. Rachel didn't just want to hurt me. She wanted to watch everything I built burn. And the worst part? No one in the family believed me when I told them. "She's just hurt," Mom said. "You know how emotional she gets." "Are you sure it wasn't just a troll?" Dad asked. "You can't prove it's Rachel." But I didn't need proof. I had something stronger, intuition. A woman knows when her own blood turns against her. And I had never felt more alone in my life. Dad's recovery was slow, but he was making progress. We all tried to act normal, well, almost all of us. I was still putting in the work, still sending groceries to Mom's house, still checking in on his therapy schedules. But no one ever asked for my help. Not even once. And then it happened. I found out about the group chat. Mom sent me a screenshot of a medication list. I looked at it absent-mindedly while sipping my coffee until something caught my eye at the top, Dad Health Plan. It was a group chat. With Rachel. With our mom. With our Uncle Jay. Even Denise, the cousin we hadn't spoken to in 5 years. But not me. I wasn't in it. My stomach dropped. I texted mom immediately, "Hey, what's that chat? I think you sent it from a group I'm not in?" Her reply was so casual it made my skin crawl. "Oh, Rachel made it. I thought you were included. I'll ask her." Ask her? Like it wasn't obvious I'd been left out on purpose? 3 hours passed. No message. No update. No apology. So I called Rachel. She answered with that fake breezy tone she always used when she knew she was guilty. "Hey. What's up? What's up?" I repeated. "I'm wondering why I'm not in the family group chat about Dad's care." There was a pause. Not long, but long enough. Then she said it. "We didn't think you'd understand the medical terms." She said it like it was a fact. Like I was a confused child who needed protecting. I was silent for a few seconds. "You mean the medical terms I literally wrote down and color-coded after his discharge? The same ones I explained to Mom while you were on your phone playing Sudoku?" She clicked her tongue. "Look, we just didn't want to stress you out, okay? You've been kind of fragile lately, fragile." There it was again. They were painting me as the unstable one so they could exclude me and feel justified about it. I said nothing. Just hung up. I didn't even have the energy to fight. 2 days later, Rachel sent a long, dramatic voice note. Something about not wanting to deal with extra emotions. That she thought I needed space. That Jack told her I wasn't doing well emotionally. Jack again. Always Jack. Like my life was some reality show and he was the narrator. I listened to the whole thing once. Deleted it. Didn't respond. And honestly, that silence felt more powerful than any reply ever could. Because for once, I wasn't trying to prove myself. I wasn't trying to explain my worth to people who had already decided it didn't matter. Sometimes silence isn't weakness. Sometimes it's the start of healing. 9 weeks. That's how long it's been since I spoke to Rachel. I stopped trying. I stopped reaching out. I stopped explaining myself to people who made it their mission to misunderstand me. And when I went quiet, they didn't even notice. Or maybe they did, and just didn't care. I poured all my energy into my business. Like, laser-focused. I upgraded my packaging. Partnered with a small local boutique. I even launched a fall scent collection and it sold out in 2 days. It should have been the happiest I'd ever felt professionally. But it wasn't. Because success is quiet when you have no one to share it with. Rachel used to be the first person I called when something good happened. Back when we were still sisters in the real sense, not just by blood. Now, even her name in my phone gave me a stomach ache. I thought I was healing. That if I ignored the pain, it would fade. But grief doesn't work like that. Betrayal has layers. And mine peeled off like old wallpaper, slow, jagged, and always when I least expected it. It was a Thursday night when it all cracked. I was taking out the trash, walking past Rachel's apartment. She lives in the same building, 2 floors down. I try not to think about it. But that night, I heard something. At first, I thought it was the TV. But it wasn't. It was crying. Not loud, sobbing, movie scene crying. Quiet crying. The kind you do when you're trying not to be heard. The kind you feel in your bones. And then I saw him. Jack. He walked down the hallway with a box in his hands. Just a plain cardboard box, sealed shut with cheap tape. His face looked tense. Hollow. He didn't knock on Rachel's door. Didn't wait for a goodbye. He just left the box on her doormat and walked away without a glance back. I stood there in the stairwell, half hidden in the shadows, frozen. And for a moment, I didn't feel triumphant. I didn't think, that's karma. I just felt empty. Because no matter how much someone hurts you, seeing them fall apart still stings. She was crying. And I didn't know if it was about Jack, or me, or something else. But I knew that pain. I had tasted it for weeks. And suddenly, I wasn't angry anymore. Just sad. For both of us. Because we were supposed to be sisters. Allies. Built-in best friends. And somewhere along the line, we lost each other. And I wasn't sure if we could ever find our way back. It's strange how grief doesn't always hit you like a wave. Sometimes, it's a fog. Slow. Lingering. And before you realize it, you're standing still in the middle of your own life, unsure how long you've been frozen. After that night in the hallway, I couldn't sleep. Not from anger. From something worse, confusion. Why had it come to this? How did two people who shared bunk beds and scraped knees end up on opposite sides of a silent war? For days, I said nothing. Did nothing. I worked, ate, slept. Repeat. My fall collection restocked. My inbox was full of congratulations and reorder requests. But none of it felt real. I found myself walking past Rachel's door more than once. Not on purpose. Just. My legs took me there. Curiosity. Concern. Or maybe something deeper. A question I hadn't asked yet. Did she regret any of it? Then one morning, there was a note slipped under my door. Just one sentence, scribbled in handwriting I hadn't seen in weeks. I'm sorry I hurt you. No name. No explanation. But I knew. I stared at that note for a long time. Hours maybe. Because I didn't know what to feel. It wasn't enough. Not really. But it was something. A crack in the wall she'd built between us. That night, I stood outside her door. I didn't knock. I didn't even raise my hand. I just stood there, breathing in the silence. Letting the weight of everything sit in my chest. Then, I walked away. Not because I didn't care. But because sometimes healing isn't about dramatic reunions or deep apologies. Sometimes, it's about choosing peace over the need to be right. Rachel would have to do her healing. I'd do mine. And maybe, just maybe, someday our paths would meet again. But until then, I'd protect what I had rebuilt. My boundaries. My business. My heart. And for the first time in a long time, I felt proud of that. It had been exactly 12 days since the note. I kept it tucked inside my desk drawer, under a stack of receipts and scrap paper, buried, but not forgotten. It didn't haunt me. But it lingered, like the last page of a book you can't decide whether to reread or just put back on the shelf. Then my phone rang. I almost didn't answer. The screen said unknown. I never answer those. But something told me to pick up. Hello? There was silence for a beat. Then. It's me. Rachel. Her voice was quieter than I remembered. Not weak, but worn out. The kind of tired you only get after months of pretending you're fine when you're not. I didn't expect you to answer, she said. I almost didn't, I replied honestly. Another silence. She hesitated. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I guess I'm calling because I don't want us to keep doing this. The silence. The hurt. The pretending. I didn't say anything. I wanted to hear what she'd say next. To see if she really meant it. I was wrong, she continued. About everything. I let jealousy turn me into someone I don't even recognize. And I blamed you because it was easier than facing how stuck I felt. Her voice cracked. You didn't deserve that. I felt something loosen in my chest. Still, I said nothing. I miss you, she said finally. Not just the texts and the memes and the candle samples. I miss you. The one person who's always been real with me. Even when I didn't deserve it. There it was. Not perfection. Not some movie script apology. Just raw, shaky honesty. I'm not ready to go back to how things were, I said, quietly. But I'm open to something new. Something healthier. Slower. She let out a breath. I can work with that. It wasn't a fix. It wasn't a reunion. But it was a beginning. One built not on guilt or obligation, but on something we'd never really tried before. Boundaries. Respect. Growth. Maybe we'd never be the same sisters we once were. But maybe that was okay. Maybe the version we were building now would be stronger. And maybe this time, we'd learn how to love each other without tearing each other apart.